I can never resist an invitation to dance.
The guilty will know agony.
Hey there. Hello. Oh no. Kiss, kiss, goodbye.
Welcome to the Howling Abyss. I bring the light Minions have spawned.
Potatoes kannst du auf deine Lieblingssnacks sparen. Ja, wie ist das möglich? Ganz einfach, wenn Potatoes im Grunde werden, sonst weggeschmissen werden. Nur wenn die zu dir produziert wurden oder die Verpackung nicht perfekt ist. Also wenn du schnell voran...
An enemy has been slain.
None escape.
Double kill. An enemy has been slain.
They only want to survive. They forfeit their lives.
Heal by fire.
So long as this bow remains. All who cross me
Rampage. An enemy has been slain. Has been slain. You have slain an enemy. An enemy has been slain. Killing spree. You have slain an enemy.
I am darkened. Even death itself will not stop me. The magic that sealed me became my light.
Slain an enemy. Rampage. Shut down.
Oh god.
Kommen bis mit deinem
We're alive to see my revenge through.
God.
here in our second game. I find it so hard to stay positive, Ox. I'm really struggling.
Really trying.
Yeah. So far, it's looking okay.
I mean, the cluster is strong. Let's be real. If the cluster was not strong, it would be pretty cooked. But
Yeah.
Knockdown was pretty strong. They had some success in the bot lane. I think, again, you know, I said it, but I think Casting and Doran, if you kept them in the lane together, it was just going to get worse and worse and worse. So I think this is working out better, even if it's not fun for the Aatrox. I am concerned about this next wave, though, that is coming in.
Yes. Casting will not be hit by the volley, so at least his health bar is quite large. Speaker taking a fair bit of damage here from B2D. Casting can at least deal with this wave, so he does secure it, gets himself the cannon there as well. Still 1.5 thousand gold lead for the Renekton on the top side. Feels not great. Because doing alright in his jungle. There is a Callisto with a lead for KT. Ducked up a lot on his shoulders here in this game. Everything else around the map as well. Objectives especially looking very even. The Dragon apiece, as well as 3 grubs on both sides. As Peter is here to help out his buddy. Casting not going to be dying on this wave either.
Does mean that Knockdown is going up against this Renekton. Both of them with a great time speed, but how many of the cluster of already carried off the couple?
Whoa! Oh, there's a flash! The flash comes out from Carrier, but it doesn't quite work! He's taking so much damage with the hostile takeover! He's too good! Casting has to flash away his cuz! A lot of damage there available as BDD coming on over. That is gorgeous amounts of CC being thrown out by the way. The Infernal Chains will connect. Another knockup as Gumayushi trying to run, but he's not going to get anywhere, and it's a double kill for BDD on the way.
You look pretty positive now. Carrier gets caught out. A bit of a misflash as well. Doesn't get over the wall, and KT finding an opportunity to strike.
Sacrificing Peter for the greater good. That's what they're known for. Is now Cuz fighting against Oda here. Will actually be able to find a decent trade towards the end. And Casting with some spare time in this bottom lane. Oh god, am I thinking positive thoughts about KT right now? I think I am.
I am too. I think we're in on this one.
Maybe we went back into the theme park. We went back and we strapped in. This was the moment that it started moving off the platform.
Yeah, and a lot goes in return. Like the hostile takeover does catch out Peter and take him down, but BDD flashes over with such confidence.
Oh, grasping more, so good.
Yeah, catches them together, and the snipe there from BDD as well. This way suddenly mega accelerated in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be painting the rift with all of his damages. Yeah, that's a happy score right there. Let's see, that is first Starblood actually going over to KT as well. So if they get themselves feats of strength, Doran would have been pretty close to securing that one for himself. He's going to demolish it now. It's a bit late, still able to get there, and it's a gold lead. It's a real one for KT. It'll be eradicated very soon, as Doran, as you can see, ready to take that one down. So still not too high. You can see the blue numbers exist.
You know we were kind of joking about pretending top lane doesn't exist. But if the top lane is on in the fight, then they don't exist. So if you just fight around, scenarios.
So you were joking, but you were right.
Yeah, if you're fighting in a situation where Doran isn't there, KT have a very significant, Because right now, again, they're like 100 gold up, but that's offset just entirely because of Doran. If you ignore that 1.3k lead and you focus on the fact that you have these strong carries on the bot side, I think you're vibing.
Yeah. Also, if you hadn't read the patch notes, you're also probably feeling pretty good, right? Because you're like, oh, Renekton doesn't scale all that well. Now, really, really worried for what KT are going to have to deal with in late game. Level 16 for Dominus is absurd as Cuz finds Ona here, who just vault breaks his way up.
A lot of confidence.
Yeah, they are.
You know what?
Under pressure.
KT are playing like a 7k goal behind last game.
Yeah.
But they're actually ahead now.
Fate's call comes on through. Doran not going to get knocked up, but the Cocoon is going to land. This is a lot of money if they're able to take down the Renekton, but it's a lot of damage if they can't. The Glacial Prison goes wide. And so does the hostile takeover. Doesn't quite find the value they're looking for. And now Carrier has overstepped the mark, and BDD, he can hold him in place for forever. There he is, just eats him. And that's another one. 4-0-2 for BDD on the way. And KT, it just took having what looked on paper like the worst draft we've seen in the history of the LCK for 2025 for them to feel absolutely fantastic and find all the advantages.
They're just locked in, you know, and it kind of goes to show that it's not all about draft. They find the angles, they play around the bot lane extremely well, and here they find this great opportunity. And again, this is a composition where see champion, kill champion. That's what they were doing last game. It's what they're going to keep doing this game, and it ends up working out really well. Cuz does whip the ultimate bit, a good dodge from Doran, but it just doesn't matter with those friends stacked up. And then Carrier, I feel like so much when you're playing Renata, you feel like you're playing close to Renata. You feel like, hey, I'm in a position, it's fine.
Yeah. And also, and I feel like a lot of it was like, I need to be in range for this ultimate to try and hit, to try and save Doran. But then, because of that, he's looking over there and he is very out of position. They did get a teleport out of casting at the same time. KT are looking for their second dragon. First mountain will go their way. And you mentioned that KT just needs to lock in. Yeah. This looks like a lock in, KT.
He looks so locked in.
They really do. And it's worrying. It's worrying to no end. This T1, they're going to lock in on the top side. So this turret under fire right now. As BDD can clear out many waves from a very long way away. They can jump over though. So this could be a lot of money into the coffers of T1. Try and get them back into a favorable position. Rick Harold will stop that from being a reality as Goonies comes over, but he's not going to stop this tower from going down. So mid-outer, pretty important one. As handshake comes through, Cuz happy to eat that though. They're just looking for another charge and they will be able to get it.
Making some good progress, and again, the total goal lead is not that big right now, but it just feels like the pressure is in favor of KT, and they're really making a win for them. The 2 dragons in pocket as well, significant.
You saw the confidence that KT had down 8,000 gold in the last game.
Yep.
If they at least hold on to half of that, things are going to be looking great.
Yeah, surprisingly feeling, you know, still very confident, but somewhat less confident than when they have a deficit. It almost feels like when you have a deficit like that, you're like, look, the game's probably cooked anyway.
Yeah,
Let's
throw some Hail Marys.
Whereas this game, they're like, you know, guys, let's be aggressive, but we might actually win this game as well. Then you gotta stop being too aggressive. Let's play it a little bit seriously.
Yep. Man, the anti-excitement tech of like giving over Vi for the first time, walking straight into Ash Renata with the first big Callista, you know, trying out the play for BDD, all this sort of stuff. Doran getting that gigantic lead.
I thought there was no way this would work, but it's doing pretty good.
It certainly is. Oh man, we are poised for KT to let us down again.
Poised martially?
Yeah, I was thinking, isn't it Marshall Pose, not Poise? I always thought it was Poise to begin with, and then someone corrected me. I don't remember when it was.
You know what? I don't know, but
I also felt like Poise made more sense. I think it's Marshall Pose. High confidence, I have to look it up. Yeah, that's fine. It's absolutely. We have a little bit of a lull in the action here. A lull state, if you will. Casting doesn't have a turret yet, and so he's probably dead. He has a lot of practice of being dead in this game, though, as he does flash away from the gravity well. Arrow going to be avoided. Does get the auto as well for the extra healing. But Owner is underneath the inhibitor turret now. Another heal comes through. Baker getting taken down low. The turret was charged up, but not charged up enough. And now KT are looking to answer this one with an Otacon towards the bottom side of the map.
she's just gone. You know, if that Q3 had hit, I mean, maybe even casting turns it around more, but at the end of the day, we'll get this Lunas Otacon, although this is early TP from BDD.
Yeah, that is a confident TP if ever I've seen one. They have Rend, they have Smite. Cuz also doesn't have a lot of resistances. It's only Doctor hit by the hostile takeover. They really want to take some of these flowers down. Cuz with the flash away, Doran slicing doesn't find it. So not going to get the dice angle. So they should be able to get in here to try and take some of these flowers. I don't know who was able to get the majority of them.
I think it was kind of a mix. I do think KT ended up with more, but I think that TP from BDD was early. I think they were concerned about the tower being pushed, but I think it was kind of unnecessary. I think he should have just stayed there. They secured all of the flowers and then backed away. But at the end of the day, they still got the buff. They still got a good amount of them. You can see they're on 29 right now.
Yep. Done as well. Like, he got hit by the hostile takeover. He was shooting so hard with the Rage Blade fully stacked. It was absurd. Having a look at this again, Casting actually played this as well as he possibly could.
Yeah, dodges the ult on the Ash, proccing those heals, and then the moment where, right here, where he's about to get the Q3, if this goes off and hits Owner, the healing that he'd get, I think maybe he actually survives a good amount longer. And then here, there was maybe concerned about a push to the tower. Also, I did look it up.
Oh, yeah? It is Poise!
You were lied to.
I was lied to. Wow, that was many years ago.
I'm glad we just corrected it.
Or maybe I did get corrected the other way, and I was like so sure that it was posed that I like just overwrote it in my memory. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I like the fact that it's Marshall Poise. It does sound cool.
It also means when you said poise earlier, it was very relevant.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was really good. I'm glad that we've now figured it out. 400 gold is the approximate lead here for KT. Doesn't mean much? No. A T1 still in a fine position? Yes. But is this possible for KT to win? Absolutely.
100%. In a far better position than they have been before. And also, we haven't really seen this Renekton show up too much in the fights. Obviously, just have this lead. He is on those 2 item spikes, but yeah, has to, you know, we kind of talk about object payments, has to be there.
Well, Glacial Prison going to come down as Owner is going to look to turn it. Peter gets pulled back, and it's a fair bit of damage available here. Only 1 hit by the hostile takeover. That'll spell the end of Owner, as he does get bailed out, but unfortunately it doesn't do too much. As Doran, he's pressed his R button and cannot do anything about it. So Soul Point going to go over to KT as Faker has said, I just want to kill this inhibitor.
Yeah. Okay, BD flash in there.
Okay.
I think ultimately Faker out of position a little bit on the setup for that fight, and Oda does everything he can to save him, but a pretty heavy cost to pay. And, you know, just like I wasn't super in agreement with that TP from BDD, not in super agreement with that TP from Faker there either. Didn't really achieve much other than chipping a bit of tower health away, so...
Yeah, it was a sort of odd one. Very aggressive.
Mid laners TPing to top lane, hit the tower. That's 0 out of 2 so far with Impact.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah,
We
Faker
learn from our mistakes.
pretty far punched up in this situation and just face checks essentially because of the situation. And then it's up to Oda to try and save him to block the follow-up, even ults to Sejuani. That being said, he could have queued out. You know, like I'm saying, like Oda sacrificed himself to Faker. That last Q he could have disengaged with, but I think they committed the TP for the Renekton. They're like, hey, let's make this a fight, and it was just the wrong call. You know, you saved your mid laner fine, but the resources you bid, the Renata ult and the Vial, just to save him, I think kind of indicated you weren't going to find the fight.
Yep. And I've got a question to ask you. Peter has only died once this game. Is that a product of good or not good enough Elise play?
I think it depends if you follow the barrel school of Elise play.
I do.
Then it's not. You should have died a lot more.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Peter. It's not good enough. You're going to have to start dying more. Because in that last fight, he went down so incredibly low. He was actually doing a great job of just beating T1. Oda saw the very squishy Elise and was like, we can kill this one, take it down. But the use of the repel, the fate skull there as well from Dr. Arm. Beautifully done.
I think that's the thing. The combo of having the Elise and having the cluster with the Fate's Fall just makes it so irritating. In a situation where we've seen, as you said, Elises die 9 times in a game.
That they win.
Yeah.
Because, like, you can see champions that die a whole bunch of times and they lose the game, and you're like, that's just not good. But being able to die 9 times and still win the game and look fine is weird. And speaking of weird, Cuz going to just throw an ultimate away. That one went a bit Narnian. It's fine. It's still able to get some control here of the river. Gumayusi taking a bit of damage, but that could have been an opportunity for something.
I think maybe he's hoping to get the cleanse from Guma in that situation, but he holds his nerve, manages to dodge it. Now down that ult for a little while.
Arrow is there, so Gumayusi can start a fight whenever they would like to. Looks like T1 wants to as well. The arrow is going to sail over. Hostile takeover working out. BD goes golden, but now Doran is in amongst the fight. Casting as well, though, with that World Ender getting some work done. They take down the Renekton, but the Aatrox cannot survive, and the Chaos Storm is just massive. T1 finally finding themselves a team fight.
Beautiful engage there from T1, getting right on the BD, and it was so unfortunate because Peter repelled, and in the end it meant the arrow hit BDD instead, and I think maybe it was never going to be a great fight for KT, but maybe if he tanked the arrow, BDD could have survived a little bit longer, but I think either way it was just a beautiful engage from T1. Now,
Dr. Arm wants this against Faker. He doesn't have his ulti, as now Cuz comes on over, and that is just a kill. Really nicely done here by KT. They're going to lose the Baron, but they'll at least take themselves an inner turret. And for a small, brief second, they had a gold advantage, and then T1 wrenched that away with this purple worm going down.
so if you look, the engage comes in from Ona, and Peter would have blocked the arrow, but it repels, so it hits BDD, and the BDD gets ulted. To be fair, I think he was dead anyway.
Yeah.
Just caught in the middle without a flash. And then we see the Kaiden comes in from Guma, they shred it through that Aatrox and the backline just untouched.
Yep.
I think the fact that AD was not pushed up with that flash, I think didn't expect to get jumped. And speaking of didn't expect to get jumped,
This was very aggressive from Doctor. I really like the fact that he recognized that without the Chaos Storm, it just wasn't enough.
there wasn't enough
Fake it to kill him.
Chaos damage. Yeah, the fact that he had the Sejuani backup
Terminus is also done here for Doctor as well, so he's actually pretty tanky.
is pretty strong.
Not strong enough to stop the Baron from going over to T1 though, and you can see now the map is littered with red wards as well. T1 in just a really good spot. It's not over or anything like that. We've got 45 seconds on the Mountain Soul availability for KT. They're able to get that. This composition becomes so much more durable, so difficult to take down. The problem is T1 have so much map control off the back of this Baron that this dragon is going to be most likely a bridge too far.
Because that last fight and the Baron, if you look at the levels, Doran, Ona, and Faker are all level 16. And none of the top side of KT is. So you've got the full points in the Arcane Storm. You have the level 16 Nectal, which we talked extensively about.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of power, you know. The gold is obviously still pretty close, but T1 have that advantage in terms of those level ups, and I would be a little bit concerned about taking this fight into them.
KT are not concerned about it. They are going to go for the fight. They'll get a cleanse. Katagumi Yushi here is casting, possibly getting engaged on by Ona. Meanwhile, there's a Fate's Call needing to be invested. Peter gets himself out, but won't have access to that ability now. It's casting standing on top of a ward. Teleport in from Doran. And Ona gets on top of this dragon. Let's see whether they can find an angle here. Already Doran has taken a fair bit of damage, and now BDD needs to stay out of harm's way. The problem was he was in melee range with a Vi. Of course, she flashed on top of him. That made things difficult. Now, you're mentioning the Arcane Storm. That goes down. So does the dragon. This ward getting so much value here for T1, the one behind the little rock there.
Yep. Just really able to zone them away. A lot of tools unavailable. The fact that Fate's Call and the Prison were down. And T1 able to get that dragon now looking towards his bot tower. A little risky though. Remember, Doran doesn't have TP and he isn't here.
KT are looking for it. They're going to go for something here as Faker just sidestepping everything. Good cocoon defensively there on to Carrier to stop him from being able to do too much more.
But now, Doran should be able to get this mid tier too, and the pressure's still on in the bot lane.
Yep. And this is just T1 extricating money from KT's side of the map. Casting comes on over, so that tier 2 doesn't actually fall, but this one does. T1 move ever further ahead. Now 3,000 gold, starting to become a real lead. And the huge problems on the top side of the map. This Callista still very strong, but I just feel like the value of the Callista is going lower and lower.
Well,
and her range isn't super high, and Ona just gets to press the I don't think you should have her any more fun button.
I think that's the thing, is this last fight, Ona didn't commit the ultimate onto casting on the side, because I think he's hit the point where it's like, I am ulting Callista.
Yeah.
That is his one goal, and that's what he's going to do. And it just makes it so hard for Dr. to play it. And obviously, you know, I talked about the lethality versus the standard Callista build. And yeah, he's been doing some great work, credit to him in this one. But I think these late game fights are just going to feel so unfun to play, because if you're in range of Vi, you're not going to play the game. If you're in range of Victor, you're not really going to play the game. The Renata ult as well is such a problem, so Dr. really going to struggle. He's going towards that Jack show, so he will be pretty bulky, all things considered. He might survive the initial engage, but surviving and being able to win the team fight afterwards are two different things.
Yeah, the KO's built by both of our supports as well, so at least Doctor will have double cleanse, so that should help him out. But I think BDD is also another huge component of this. Needs to be in a good position, laying down that artillery fire in these team fights. And so now, 3 minutes on another shot at Mountain Soul for KT. But T1 may just move to Soul Point themselves. And that will mean that we'll have to have the conversation about what Mountain Soul means for this team. And it is also absolutely terrifying, giving Doran more durability when his Dominus is doing so much damage is pretty absurd. As we do have 4 items completed for Doctor. Like we were talking about, that Jack show is now done.
I think as well also mitigates the poke from BDD. That's definitely something they've been playing around a decent amount. If you have that mountain shield, really helps prevent that. But they're still a while away from the soul itself.
A while away from, well, not actually that far away from the Baron. So 45 seconds until that purple thing going to be back on the map once again. KT with not a lot of vision in the area. They're going to need to start getting over there. So finally able to clear some things out. Control wards now being removed. KT to get on in. Get rid of some of this vision. Not going to be able to stick around for too long. Reset's going to be concluded pretty soon for T1, who are now back out onto the map.
Yeah,
Infinity Edge is so close for Gumayushi as well.
Yeah, being able to pick that up would be big.
Cocoon going to be connecting here as Oda gets pulled back by the Infernal Chains. Still gets over, but there's the Michaelis from Carrier keeping him alive. And the T1 jungler able to skirt away still.
Yeah,
KT going to look for an angle.
Be able to heal up a bit off this red buff. He is very low and has no flash. They are going to start at the Baron.
Oh god. And Doran now getting all that fury. Dominus has been popped down to 50%. As Aram going to get tanked, Fate's Call going to pull Peter back. As Doran going to be the target, he flashes away. It's now KT off the Baron for the moment. Doran in an awkward position. As Peter finds another cocoon. Casting gets over the wall, but now the rest of T1 move on over. And Casting has been cornered off. The flash over from Cuz is decent, but Peter is just dead. This Arcane Storm is so scary. And Oda gets on in there. The flash on forward. Casting trying to find these Qs, but T1 are a freight train. And Doctom is dancing, but I just don't know whether he's got the tune, and he does not. Down goes Casting as well. It's a catastrophe for KT. And T1 may just win the game right here.
KT put a great effort, managing to find some big advantages on the bot side, but when it comes to those team fights, so hard to deal with his T1 composition and the excellence when it comes to fights around Baron. The Arcane Storm was the size of a lane into that fight, and they will close this one out 2-0.
Yeah, T1 just a little bit too better here today. They put up the home stand last time, and KT got the better of them, and they return the favor here as KT set up theirs, and it did not look that difficult either. T1, a big return to form by the looks of things here today. We're going to need to see more if we want to confirm it. Still looking much better for them. And KT, yeah, I think we went home. I think the theme park was indeed close.
Yeah, I mean, the car drive was pretty chill.
Yeah.
It felt like if I had to think of a country it was like driving through, I'd say like the Netherlands, very flat.
Yeah.
Although there was that little bump, I think a couple of road bumps we went through, where I was like,
maybe a turn a little bit early and you went off the bridge into the river at the end. May have happened.
The GPS said to go that way.
I know, and sometimes you just can't help it. And thankfully you didn't hit a gondola on your way down. Is it gondola? What is that? The things that go down the river? Gondola doesn't sound like that. That sounds like things in the sky. Yeah, I don't know what they're called. Anyway, it's fine. I'm sure Chronicle will tell us. I think that guy is from the Netherlands. As T1 looking absolutely fantastic. Mata very happy with Faker here, as you can see. And even though there were some good moments at the beginning there for KT, it ultimately didn't matter at all.
Yeah, I wanted to feel really positive about it. They were making the composition work. The goal lead was never that significant in total, and then they kind of ran into a wall with some of the issues in those team fights. But I think T1's team fight overall was pretty impressive. I think there were moments where KT definitely could have found advantages in those 5v5s, and just weren't able to pull it off. So
let's have a look at some of the highlights here, as this was a good moment from KT. And in fact, there are a lot of good moments for KT in the early stages of the game. They just didn't amount to enough to get them a victory in this one. Yeah. I feel like Vi might be a champion worth considering a ban.
really,
Yeah, it did feel like in the late game, having the ability to pick your target and kill them was really strong.
I don't know how many times it has been considered and put into motion so far.
All of the times?
So, in the LCK, 99 times so far. Yeah, so could have been 100.
Yeah.
Wasn't 100 bans.
No, but it's definitely, at least now, when we do the how things looked on this patch, she will at least have 100% win rate. Instead of just like never being played but 100% banned.
Yeah.
So there's that. And honestly, like these moments, right? Like Ona did get like a big advantage from the top side, the fact that they were focusing casting so hard. The melee range Hui not working out in this fight here, and this was kind of the beginning of the end for KT. And you did really see that once it came down to these team fights, the follow-up on the assault battery, that is now cease and desist, obviously, is just too much to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, this fight, so much value from the hostile takeover to force them away, and then they just kind of re-examine the fight in this situation. Doran's like, I'm fully speed, I'm strong. This low how Elisa's fighting me, I'm not really afraid. And Kurtz goes over to try and help casting, but leaves the backline exposed. She's starting with the resets on Arcane Storm, and then Otis straight in on the BDE. Doesn't want to play the game.
That is absolutely stupid. That's what happens when you get 3 of those kills. Now casting a Doctor, the next one's to go down. Nothing that they can do about this one.
So weird to think of Victor as being a reset champion.
Yeah, he is now. Yeah, they said arcane.
Lore accurate.
Yeah, lore accurate Victor.
Yeah, they watched season 2, unlike someone I know who didn't watch season 2 of Arcane.
Yeah, I certainly did. I still don't really understand everything. I felt like it was very complicated, and I only have a small brain. I need to do the rewatch. Maybe I can watch it with Chronicler. Maybe he'll watch it with me. What do you think?
I already have a lot of stuff I'm gonna watch it first, so.
There's a long list.
Okay.
Honor is going to pick up player of the match. He looked absolutely fantastic on both of these champions. The fact that he got Xin Zhao and Vi in this series, though, is pointing my head towards Score and KT and what they're doing. Honor has been top 3 best players in the league.
Yeah.
And you're giving him his absolute best for this series, and I would put that in the cons column.
I would agree.
Yeah, perhaps a mistake. I'd go that far.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because it's one of those things where you're like, okay, is Ona, if you force off these picks, maybe he still has an impact, but I think we definitely say get a lot of impact on these picks, and these are the two of the strongest, 2 of the highest prio junglers on the patch, so definitely a concern.
I would agree. He's going to join Gideon on 300 points here as well in the POM standings. Still got a while away to catch up with his former teammate in Zeus, but now it is time to hear from him in Suwon after the win over KT. Throw it over to BT.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Owner on the side of T1, who has taken a victory over KT with a 2-0 score. Owner, today at the LCK Team Roadshow, many fans have gathered to watch you win on the big stage. How do you feel? It's been such a long time since we were able to play in front of so many fans, and we really wanted to win today. And last time when we invited KT over, we lost against them, so I really wanted to get our revenge, and I'm very glad that we're able to accomplish that. And let's talk about game 1. As expected, they really shouldn't have let you play in Xin Zhao. So, how did you react to Xin Zhao being open today? In regards to the draft, I just thought maybe they left Xin Zhao open and that was just a part of their strategy. And Xin Zhao is definitely my comfort pick, so I had a really good time. I felt really great about locking Xin Zhao in that moment. And also looking at game 2, Vi had a 100% ban rate this patch, so why do you think they left her open? There are a lot of OP champs like Vi and Kalista, so I think on the side of KT, they probably prioritize Kalista more. And I think the draft was prepared in a way where we're just going to have to split that priority picks. And then you created a comp that plays around the Vi Ashe ult synergy, so how did the gameplay feel? You know, it was pretty rough in the earlier stage of the game, but being able to utilize that kind of ult synergy, we knew that we would have the full capacity to be able to win that game. Yeah, the early game and game 2 was a bit tricky, but you led the team to victory, flipping everything around with the best macro, so how were you able to come back? Well, we had a lot of the lane prio, because we had Vi, where you can take a lot of lane prio. You know, even though we were behind in kills, we knew that the global gold difference wouldn't be too bad, and we knew that we would be able to win through team fighting and a lot of the skirmishes that we are confident in. And on this big stage, Another big milestone has been hit.
달성됐는데
Owner, you reached 400 LCK games.
보여드리고 계신데요. 여기에 더 의미 있는 게 구마유시 선수 역시
And what makes it even more meaningful is that Gumayushi has also reached 400 LCK games. So how do you feel about this meaningful record? You know, ever since I debuted, I've always been playing with Gumayushi, so I think that's just what led us to play 400 LCK games, you know. I feel like we both have stacked so much experience just together. So would you like to say anything to Gumayushi? Gumayushi, congratulations on 400 games. Let's keep on playing well as long as we can. Now that you got to kick off round 2 with a victory, what are your goals for the rest of round 2? You know, it was a 2-0 clean victory in our first match of round 2. So I'm hoping and looking forward to showing you guys a great, fun performance and more wins in round 2 compared to round 1. And that's the end of the interview with Owner, and back to the space. Thank you.
Dear everybody for that wonderful translation. Thank you so much, dear. As it is T1 taking down the LCK Roadshow KT Homecoming, ruining the homecoming. Digon here alongside Chronicler and Wolf. And Owner was the man running the jungle. He was the heartbeat and has been the heartbeat of this team all of 2025.
It was nice that this time it felt like you could vote for other people. I wouldn't be surprised to see Carrier votes. I wouldn't be surprised to see Faker votes. Carrier's Brom game, I think, was actually super good. And then, there we go. The Faker votes, I think, no surprise. Even though, obviously...
Jijijixu.
Yeah, I think they're more...
It's okay. I think
I don't mind that.
Thorn had a really good Rumble game and then dominated the lane, obviously with a strong matchup, and basically took his opponent casting out of the game and made him until the end kind of irrelevant. So
Did you see those TP? Did you see that TP in the top lane?
but I want to talk about the drafting. The score is really we're gonna have to see some improvements, because leaving the Vi over, giving the Xinjiao over, this kind of stuff, I think KT has to work on this, because you can't talk about the series without talking about the fact that like the answer was the way, and we're like, okay, I guess, but I didn't feel like that was really a call.
Wolf, I do agree. Let's pull up, if we can, my palm comment that might have something to say on this matter, because I'm really with you, because I don't
You're like
know.
right there next to me.
I am. Why are we doing this? This is arguably the best jungler at the moment in the LCK, and the only reason he's not is because I think Peanut in particular has been playing out of his mind. Canyon has had a much better season than the LCK Cup. But like, this was the guy that popularized Vi, and instead of just accepting that he should not be getting Zinzao ever, we give it to him, and then we put BDD on a 0, and I know it's his champion. But again, I want to reiterate what I said in Game 1. I feel like it just didn't pay off.
No. To my palm comment, I think they forgot the jungle tier list and the jungler tier list at the same time. So basically what you said, just in terms of the tier list, like, right now, he's our best jungler, I feel. I think he's better than Canyon at the moment. I think we can say that. And, when you look at Peanuts, some of his inconsistencies, like I put Owner at number 1, he's keeping this team together legitimately, and you gave him the 2 best picks, period, like not even close. Like there's S tier and then there's like C tier. You gave him the C tier picks. Can't be doing that.
400 games here for Owner and for Gumayushi as well. And yet another TOM. Owner, you can do no wrong, says Ox, as he's basically doing pretty perfect.
He even won in the final game. Because that game wasn't done, and it was Owners Engage that started it on the fly.
Baron, the topside play, basically anything that happened in the mid game that looked a little shaky, he did not do wrong.
Hey, he did lose the Otacon flip.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
he's not perfect. It doesn't matter.
Oops.
Welcome back, Hannah.
Da, 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 da. Good. All the leaves are brown, all the leaves are brown, and the sky is grey. And the leaves are brown, brown, the sky is red. And the sky is gray.